Welcome to Community Cocktails with Kimberly, hosted by Kimberly Woodard, a realtor who's been selling homes in North Texas with more than 21 years of experience. Join her every first and third Wednesday of the month as she meets with top community leaders, local businesses, and real estate industry experts to help you get to know the area you want to call home. Don't just love your home, love your community. And now your host, Kimberly Woodard.
Welcome, viewers, to this episode of Community Cocktails with Kimberly. So I know I have all these viewers right now. You are sitting on the fence. You're looking at the current interest rates and debating, well, should I just stay here renting this property that I'm in? Or is it really the right time for me to buy? Well, I have mortgage expert Gracie and my friend with Mortgage and Beyond here. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. Well, we are going to change the mindset of the viewers that are sitting on their fence looking at the interest rates instead of going down, going upward.
Yeah.
And show them really with numbers, why possibly if they can afford to get a mortgage, why it's a better, time to buy.
Absolutely.
So let's start talking.
I put some main factors. I think that you're right that when the interest rate is 7, trending 8%, a lot of people are just like, this is the last thing I want to consider. But life happens.
Mm-hmm.
You just got to think about an overall picture. Oftentimes, when we're looking at the main factors, people thinking about buying is when they have the living situation change. They're in a better finance situation. They have life events. They really just have a strong desire to become a homeowner because they're tired of listening to the landlord, whatever they decide to do to the property. And then wealth building is one thing that I really want to spend time drill down to give our viewers more information, kind of empower them to peel the onion and say, what does that really mean?
Right.
How does buying a first home help me with my wealth building, right?
Yes.
A lot of people don't understand that. They've been hearing about that over again, but what does that number looks like? Market condition, and a lot of people as a first-time home buyer, they just have a goal to eventually own a house themselves.
Definitely. And I think, some things to consider is, our generation, we saw, our parents paying higher interest rates. And so, up downs, we weren't really, but I think a lot of our generation that is in the first-time home buying, we were so spoiled with the lower interest rates. It's a foreign, to see these other numbers out there.
Yeah.
And they're just not comprehending that we ever were there.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah.
but, well, this I thought was so interesting. So if you are renting and look at these areas and what the average rent is, oh my gosh, some of these areas, it gave me heartburn.
Absolutely. And this is something that I just pulled yesterday from Redfin.
Yes.
So we want to bring the most current data to our viewers. We're not talking about something that happened a year or 2 years ago. And when they are going out to look at rent, they said, this is not what I'm seeing in the marketplace. We're actually, the location of the studio is right around the center of Dallas, right? And look at Valley Ranch. I mean, this is the zip code, and someone is paying almost $2,500 for a 3-bedroom and 2-bathroom, and it's been up 24.62% months over month. So think about, that's a lot of big chunk of money that you're using to pay rent and that you're not getting anything in return. Yep. When you terminate that lease and you move all your personal belongings, the landlord is the one that get to keep the equity.
Yes, so you've just built the landlord's equity versus your own equity.
Yeah,
is really what. So you could, if you like to, you can just take the money and flush it down the toilet because you're never going to get that back.
You're never going to see that money again.
Yes.
Yeah.
So.
Rent budget. So a lot of time when people think about the reason why they want to rent is because they feel like it's cheaper. Yeah. But is it really cheaper to rent?
Right.
A lot of time people are looking at the 1 or 2 numbers, which is how much is my rent per month, whether it's $1,500 or $2,000. How about your utilities? A lot of rental homes are older.
Yeah.
And the landlords are not going to invest money in better windows, better insulations, better AC.
Right.
They're just putting in whatever's working. But the tenants are the one that have to pay the monthly utility bills.
Right.
So oftentimes when you live in an older home, the monthly utility bill in the summertime can be $600 to $900.
Wow.
Versus a newer home. I'm not saying that all newer homes are right, but if you own a house, wouldn't you want to invest in some better insulated windows and doors, and then to cut down your utility costs? And that's one investment you're going to get more benefit for yourself every single month.
Definitely. I mean, if you're owning the property, you're going to make sure that it's a little, tighter. You've got all the most efficient, energy efficient ways, which, to help cut costs on your utilities. As a renter, you don't have a voice. Yeah.
You actually don't have a voice.
Yeah.
This is something that I did research yesterday. So I have a finance and accounting background. And when I first got in the industry, that I was trained to actually look at not really how much you make, is how much you keep, right? Yes. And if there is a tax deduction that is legal, we want to get all the tax deduction that you deserve and you're eligible for. So that's another difference between being a renter and being a homeowner. Being a renter, there's zero deduction for you.
Right. Well, and those that just filed their taxes last month, I know. There you go.
And your TurboTax is very easy because you don't have anything to file to get credit back.
Right.
So owning a home, that's another tax saving that a lot of people don't think about, or they don't have knowledge to calculate, right? So the research I did yesterday was, what is the primary age for first-time home buyers? It's between that 30 to 35. Yeah. Now everyone is kind of getting married late.
Well, it is. I mean, I would say it goes into, when we were looking at, the first slide, it's life changes. You're starting to see people, they've been in, maybe if they did, secondary education, they're out of that. They've got a couple of years in the workforce under their belts. Maybe they've met someone, maybe they haven't, but they're having life changes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hopefully not still living with mom and dad.
Yeah. And then COVID has put a lot of people not behind, but timing to make major decisions.
Right.
Because they might feel like in the middle of COVID, they don't know if their job is secure, if they need to move, they need to change career. But I feel like now COVID is really behind us, right? You don't really see that instability or instability about whether I'm going to stay at the current job or I need to move to another city to continue. So I would say this year we definitely have seen more people in that 30 to 35 age range to start become serious about looking at buying for their first home. So if you're looking at their tax rate, they're between 24.7% to 26.1%.
Okay.
And how does that play into the tax savings when you own a house and when you have a mortgage under your name?
Right.
That's what we're going to show on the next slide. This is something that's really eye-opening, and we might want to spend a little bit more time.
There's a lot of numbers, but I mean, we definitely, because there's some really numbers that you all are going to want to focus on in here.
Yeah, absolutely. So we just did a simple comparison, right? Because the decision is whether I should rent or whether I should buy. So let's put everything on one page and do a side-by-side comparison.
Yes.
We talk about the average rent here. So if you're living the actual, the metropolitan area, you most likely will pay $2,500. And then we added a few $100s to have that cushion. Okay. It could be the extra utility you're paying or the storage or going out because you don't have the perfect backyard to host all the social parties. And you said, we have to go out to a restaurant, which end up paying more on drinks and dining. So the option number one is we have talked to a lot of first-time home buyers. And when they call us and they said, my current rent is $2,900, and in order for me to buy a house, I want my monthly expense to stay the same.
Right.
So their question is, what type of price range can I afford without increasing my budget? So that's option number one that we did. If you're just looking at a very simple calculation, purchase price, how much mortgage balance you need to borrow, the current interest rate. So the total payment is $28.95 if you want to purchase a home that is similar to your current rent, and the purchase price is going to afford you is about $350,000.
Wow.
Okay? But this is where the second part is where a lot of people have never heard or have thought about.
Yeah.
Once you have a mortgage under your name with that tax rate, you're going to get tax benefit, which means that you have a higher deduction. So what is that dollar amount? It's about $442.
Oh, wow.
If you have a mortgage, about $332,000.
Okay.
And then in addition to that, every single month when you make that $2,800 payment to your mortgage company, a part of that is going towards your principal, which you mentioned earlier about building equity for yourself.
You're building your savings account. So you're filling up that piggy bank.
Absolutely. So then once you consider the tax benefit and the principal paid, here is what I really want people to pay attention to. It's not your total payment. It is your net monthly payment.
Yes.
So your $2,800 monthly payment turned into a $2,100, and you're saving $772.
Wow.
So let's just sink in for a moment.
I mean, yes, that is a very good savings. So, how would you like to have that extra in your pocket every month? So,
and then owning your own house.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
The second option is that we have talked to potential home buyers. Is said, we feel like we can potentially increase our budget by $500. What does that give us in terms of purchase price?
Right.
So we did this calculation. If you were to purchase a home for $410,000, your gross monthly payment is about $3,366, and that's about $500 more than your rent, right? But once again, you consider the tax benefit and principal paid. The tax benefit is going to be higher when you have a higher loan amount. It's a percentage, right? So that's why this one is a little bit higher. And what is so surprising to me after I ran that calculation is even someone to purchase a $410,000 property, they're still saving $428. They're not paying more.
Right.
And that's the thing is we need to actually change the mindset. I think you said it perfectly. Is how do you change the mindset, how you look at your monthly payment?
Right.
It's not just as simple of I'm writing a check, I'm sending my landlord $2,800. It's all the other stuff.
Right.
Right. After you send the payment.
Right. So you're looking at, again, when you're owning your home, you're developing that equity, which then is a stair stepper for, say you decide you're going to live in that house for 3 to 5 years. Yes. We'll just use those numbers and how our appreciation in our DFW area, you're going to have a nice little estate to then be able to buy something. And you won't be worrying about that down payment because you already have it. And you may be able to put even more down because you have enough equity, which then you may be upscaling your house. And actually you could, depending on how much, down payment you were able to do, you may be at the same or comparable on payments. You just never know.
Yeah.
So,
and I'm so glad you said that because a lot of home buyers, whether you're first time or second time, when they're looking at a better property, when they're like bigger square footage, better location,
right?
They just kind of look at that from a very far perspective. I wish I could buy that.
Yeah.
I will have to get a better job. I will have to save so much more money.
Right.
But equity is a shortcut.
Yes.
Once you start investing in real estate, the first property, you don't really have to per se get a second job. You don't have to wait for a promotion. Right. You actually let the market do its thing as appreciation. So then you're able to leverage the equity and put that, as you said, a bigger down payment without having to work so hard. But if you don't start, you will never get to the step 2.
Right.
You have to start
now. You got to start now. So you need to call Gracie. And then after Gracie gets you your numbers, then we'll go shop.
Well, and that's the thing. It's like, if you don't start the step 1,
right,
and all you can do is window shopping for the rest of your life.
No.
Because you don't really have a chip at the table to play.
Right.
We just want you to have a chip at the table.
Yes. And
that's all.
That's all. And this is, that's why we always say owning a property, buying your home, is going to be, for most people, their largest financial investment.
Absolutely.
But as you're seeing in these numbers, that's why. And so, but, and I know a lot of people will be, out there, they're driving through neighborhoods and like, how can these people afford to live here? And it's because they have done this.
Yeah.
This was not their first home. This might have been their third or fourth home.
Yeah.
But they did, the stair step is what I like to do. So,
yeah.
Sure.
And then let's take a look at option number 3, because that is another very commonly asked questions that we've been getting for the last 6 months.
Yeah.
Well, I'm ready. I know I have the perfect income. I'm saving down payment, every month.
Right.
But would it be a better idea if I wait till the mortgage rate drop to that 5%, 5.5%? I'm really hoping that it's going to happen.
Yeah.
But people like us, we don't get to decide on interest rate. There's a bigger problem that we're trying to solve here, right? So I think the best way is to actually look at the numbers here. Let's just say we have seen what happened in 2020, 2021 when the interest rate at 2.53%.
Yes.
Every single open house, Realtor don't really need to host open house because you'll have 20 offers. Right. So what's most likely going to happen is when the mortgage rate dropped to 5.5%, the same property that's currently asking for $350 is going to be asked for $400,000. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, not a big deal. $50,000 increase. I would still rather get the lower interest rate. But does that make sense?
Right.
So you can have a $400,000 property with the same 5% down payment that, assuming the interest rate get lowered to 5.5, look at your monthly payment. It's actually about $150 more than the current interest rate at 6.5. So we're not here to convince anyone. I think my goal is to share.
And educate.
The numbers.
Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, still at the end of the day,
eye-opening.
Yeah. If they're not ready, they're not ready.
No.
But at least they know what does that cost for them to wait for another 6 months.
Definitely. And just think you could be developing 6 months in equity.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the owning budget, I would say, we want to be transparent because we are talking to a lot of first-time home buyers, and they might say, now I don't have any repair cost. Owning a home that I do have repair costs, but there's a lot of different ways that you can protect yourself. Using a home warranty company. So the repair cost can be a small percentage, and then there's a lot of different ways to insulate yourself.
Right.
Again, this is just a monthly payment difference. Talking about rent, if you're paying for $2,900 and for $350,000 property with the tax benefit and the principal paid, you're saving about $700 or $800. On that $410,000, which is our second option, you're still saving $500 compared to rent. And then on the option 3, yes, you can wait, but there's just not any guarantee that you'll be able to secure the house that you really like.
Because everyone else is going to be out there wanting those homes. So.
Absolutely. This is the stepping stone that we're just talking about, right?
Yes. So this is
some really big numbers.
So if you are looking to, if we haven't convinced you that you may be wanting to look at, can I buy it right now? This shows a lot, because if you own that home in 7 years, with what's going on in our DFW area appreciation, I mean, we are not seeing any downfalls. DFW, if you could look at the historic history of DFW, even when the entire United States was having issues, we still stayed afloat. So this is the equity. Oh my gosh, look at those numbers. I mean, look about putting that chunk as a down payment on your next house.
When I do presentation, I always like to just pause for a second, because like $150,000, $188,000, that is going to make someone very happy. In the next 7 years. And what we do, we're both in real estate. At the end of the day, we want to make our clients happy about their decision. We don't really care about selling a home, doing a mortgage. Is how do we help you and your family make the happiest decision? And we can't predict the future, but we can show on paper that if we're using a very conservative approach for appreciation, those are how much you're going to be getting out of equity in 7 years. And 7 years fly by.
It does. I mean, I can't believe, I've been in my home for, going on, 5 years. And it's been a blink of an eye.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you talk about someone that's starting to look, we're just talking to someone that's really listening to the podcast. You're in your early 30s and you just got married and you don't have kids yet and you live in a starter home. In 7 years, maybe if you have kids when you're 34,
right,
and then your baby's born when you're 35, 7 years, that's when your baby is about to go to kindergarten or preschool.
Yeah.
That is when you have $160,000 to use however you like.
Yeah.
You can pay for the child tuition if you want to put the baby in the private kindergarten.
Right. Wherever you decide.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, you have the options.
Yes.
Renting, you don't have any options.
No.
I think that's the bottom line.
No.
Yeah.
I think I agree. And I mean, these numbers definitely show the story. So let's talk about this. I thought was very interesting.
Home buying just got more affordable.
Yes.
We know affordability is really an issue on the rising right now, right? So how do we solve that? As a real estate agent, you don't really control the price. The seller said that this is the market, this is what I'm looking to sell for. So we are very resourceful. When there's a problem in the marketplace, that I like to go out and research what solution that we can really bring to the buyers in terms of making buying more affordable.
Right.
And that actually helps a seller indirectly too. When you have more buyers in the marketplace, then you have better stats. You have a higher listing price. You're able to sell your house. It's all about that supply and demand.
Definitely.
So there's a special program that we just launched. It's called a community lending program. It has nothing to do with buyers' income. So you can be making very high income, and it's all about the location and the property address that you want to make an offer on. Okay. A lot of time people say, oh, is that a down payment assistance? This is not a down payment assistance program. There's no higher interest rate. In fact, we're actually going to lower the interest rate for you. And let's look at how many properties are actually eligible for this.
Okay.
So this is the data I put yesterday again. And this program is available in the entire state of Texas.
Okay.
Right? So not just in Dallas, not just in Plano, more of a established area.
Okay.
This is just a map. When you see those properties are in a yellow highlighted area, and here's all the current listings.
Okay.
If you were to make an offer on any of those homes, and again, it's available in all cities.
Okay.
Then it's not about your income. You can still put 3% down payment. There's no additional payment required. You'll be able to get a reduced interest rate, about 1/4 to 0.5%.
Wow.
So now the interest rate is about 6.5 and 7. If you're able to take advantage of this program, then you get 6 to 6.5%.
Yeah.
And I don't want to really quote interest rate.
No, because I mean we're up and down.
Exactly. But that is a significant saving.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot of homes to choose from, and you can see the price range of the home is just all varies. There's homes that listed for $520,000.
Yeah.
There's home that $525,000, $499,000. So another question that some people might say, well, do I have to buy a really starter home that under $300,000? No, there are homes in that $400,000 to $500,000 range that qualify for this as well.
Wow.
And this is a McKinney.
Yeah. Okay. Up in McKinney.
Uh-huh.
Well, there's definitely lots of opportunity for that. And so this was very eye-opening. I hope viewers, you, especially those that have been sitting there on the fence, renting and just kind of pondering, should I buy or should I stay renting? That these numbers kind of made a different mindset for you. So give Gracie a call. And obviously there's this other program that could, if a property could qualify for, and they'll help you even more.
Absolutely.
So we've got Gracie's contact information there. Give her a call and she will help you. She will get your all into budget, and then I can help you go do the fun thing with house shopping. Well, cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers to 2024.
Thank
house
you.
Buying.
All right.
Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast on Apple and Spotify, as well as Kimberly's YouTube channel. If you'd like to contact Kimberly directly, you can email her at kimberlywoodard@ebby.com or call 214-632-2092. We hope you enjoyed our guest this week, and remember, don't just love your home, love your community.